If you're watching this video, you were probably disappointed in the traditional education system at some point. Let's be honest, school sucked. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't even your teacher's fault. So, how did it get so bad? Let's dive further. Education, essentially the learning part, has been around for a long time. And we mean a long time. Probably more than you're thinking about. If you were thinking about our ancestors climbing trees and banging rocks together, you weren't thinking far back enough. Learning played and still plays a massive part in the evolution of species. The ability to learn is possessed by humans, animals. There is even evidence for some kind of learning in certain plants. Learning is how we get fit to survive. Does that ring a bell? We as humans learn so we can survive and live in better conditions. So did the first animals, through various methods, which we'll get into in another video, so subscribe and ring the bell if you don't want to miss that. But what that essentially means is that learning is encoded in us, into our DNA, just as breathing, eating, sleeping are needs, as is learning. Now you might be thinking, hey, if that was true, I would have loved learning about everything I was taught in school. Which you would be right in thinking about. But as you just said, it's not about learning, it's about you being taught. Now before anyone thinks that we hate school or we hate teachers, that couldn't be further than the truth. We just think that not everyone can be taught in the same way. Every single one of us learns in a unique way. And that is impossible to be realized by teachers when they are teaching a class of 30 people at once. Even if they did, there wouldn't be enough time or resources to tend to the needs of each one of the learners they have. And this is exactly where traditional education has probably failed you. To make things worse, things like tests, which in theory are a good way to track the learning process of students, have just become stressful and anxiety-inducing experiences. So the question remains, how can we learn in a way that doesn't depress us, but actually helps us realize our passions and what we are skilled at? Well, it's actually quite simple. And you do it all the time. If you're watching this video, you are currently learning. And you are learning about a cool little thing called personalized learning. If that sounds great, it's because it is. Personalized learning is all about you. It's about what you want to learn, where you want to learn it, and how you want to learn it. And the best part, if you don't enjoy something about it, you can just change it. It may sound like a fantasy, but it is what you do all the time when you're watching a YouTube video, or reading a blog about a topic, or even cycling through Reddit threads. The part of personalized learning we are focusing on in this video is called informal learning, and it happens when you're not under constructed learning systems. To explain further, if you were taking a guitar lesson on an online website and getting a certificate, for example, that wouldn't be informal learning. But if you were watching a Kurzgesagt or Vsauce video, which you should, you will be learning informally. It feels unusual, doesn't it? When we think about learning, we usually think of working and studying hard, which is of course a big part of learning. But most of the learning process actually happens when we don't realize it. Our brains are amazing and great at learning. Just to give you an example, have you ever realized that when you practice or read about something just before going to bed, your skills for that thing will have improved exponentially when you woke up? Now that we talked about how great informal learning is, let's talk about the biggest problem with informal learning. It isn't easily trackable, which basically means it's not awardable. You never get a certificate or badge when you watched a video on YouTube to learn about something, even though you did learn that thing. We believe that if you can learn about something as well as, or even better than how the traditional education systems are teaching you, you deserve to be able to showcase that. But this is not just about believing. Informal learning is only beginning its rise in popularity, and we need to be able to solve this problem if we want it to get even more widely accepted. So, how do we solve it? Well, we got good news. It has already been solved. Right now, as you're watching this, thousands of people are learning skills by reading blogs and watching videos, and they're being rewarded for it. There are even institutions who have adopted the system fully and are using it to track and award their students and trainees' learning process. How? Me and my team have been working on further our personalized learning app for years, and it is fully out right now. It's free to download and it's free to use, because we really want to show everyone the power of informal learning. There's thousands of content from all over the internet in it, and when you watch a video or read a blog, it shows it in your learning process and awards you with badges for reaching personalized milestones. You can select skills, interests, and even the sources you want content from. And the more you use the app, the better your suggestions get, similar to YouTube. If that sounds interesting to you, you can download and use the app for free right now. The link is in the description. But we knew that wasn't enough to get informal learning rolling. We needed to go bigger. So we also created a version of Further for businesses and organizations. If you were, for example, working at a firm, they would be able to use Further to track your informal learning process, giving you the ability to learn right from your phone, wherever you want, and they would actually be able to see you're improving your skills. More and more organizations are starting to use Further, and we have been seeing amazing results. But that is for another video. So, let us know if you have any questions about informal learning. As we mentioned, we're going to dig further into topics about learning. So, if you don't want to miss those, don't forget to subscribe. And check out Further. It's free, and if you don't like it, you can always uninstall. See ya.